This is a YouTube exclusive. Be sure to subscribe and like and check out The Right Time on YouTube. All right, Sean, I just got back from Iceland. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know what that says about me as a cultural figure. It's the All-Star weekend, and I'm like, nah, I want to go to the coldest, whitest place on earth. But hell, they had the game in Indiana. Anyway, something happened when I was gone. What was this? Apparently, you got the clip of JJ Redick talking about Doc Rivers, because Doc was talking about how hard it was and all this, taking over the Bucks in the middle of the season and all of this stuff. What we got from JJ on this?
I've seen the trend for years.
What's the trend?
The trend is always making excuses. Doc, we get it. Taking over a team in the middle of the season is hard. It's hard. We get it. Just like getting traded in the middle of the season is hard for a player. We get it. Mm-hmm. But it's always an excuse. It's always throwing your team under the bus. They lose to Memphis. Oh, it's his players' fault. Memphis was playing G League guys and two-way guys. And then you look at his quotes over the weekend. Now he wants to take credit for the James Harden trade to the Clippers working out. He wants credit for that. There's never accountability with that guy. Well, there's never accountability.
So I don't think I really talked about it on this pod. I talked about it on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Melo and Miro. Hey, man, these cats that play for Doc don't seem to like Doc very much. But at the same time, and this is a part of it that I find to be very interesting, they don't seem to quit on Doc. Like, Sean, have you noticed that? Like, normally, you know when it's time to let go of an NBA coach, and it's not because of the end result that they wind up with. It's because these dudes quit on them. Like, it doesn't seem like you watched the Doc squads for a while. Like, does it seem like they quit on him?
No, they seem to like play through all the drama and turmoil, but they still will play hard every night.
Yes, but it always does seem to be something, right? But his teams don't. Every time he gets a job, for a guy that's been pretty damn successful, right? Like, he made the NBA list of all-time coaches. He has won a championship. He's been to the NBA Finals 2 times. The run he had with Orlando, actually, you look back on it, is pretty impressive considering where they were when he first got there. You know, we could point to positives and highlights for Doc Rivers. In fairness to him about the time with the Clippers, I understand that things had changed by the time he got there, but they still the goddamn Clippers. Like the next person to do something worth talking about with them will be the first, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot there when you talk about him. But at the same time, and this is the point that I've made, I don't know or remember exactly how many of them 3-1 leads that his teams have blown. I believe it's 4 of them. Bro, it's 4. I could give you an individual explanation for every single one of them. But after a point, it gets to be 4 and people start looking at you, right? And so with JJ, I do think he's on to something in the sense that Doc is rarely the person that gets in front of the camera and is like, hey, this was on me. This one's on me, whatever it is. Doc is the guy that gets in front of the camera and hits you with a bunch of that yeah, but, right? So, for example, if you were to put him on and talk about blowing the 3-1 leads, he could give you all the yeah, buts. Because I know he could, because I could give you the yeah, buts. The issue is not that he could give you the yeah, buts. The issue is that he will give you the yeah buts. You see what I'm saying? Like, generally speaking, somebody else is supposed to be the person to offer your yeah buts. Every time, you just got to stand up there and be like, nope, I got to do better. No, I got to do better. No, I got to do better. And then feel confident enough that the people around you like you. And so they'll be the ones that'll come up and defend you. And then if they don't defend you, we all know what the next step is, which is to go into your alter ego persona, a little somebody known as anonymous source. I'm not saying that Doc himself does that. I'm just saying that that's the next move for most people, right? You go, you put on your costume. Who knows, man? I guess it doesn't really work like this, but I like to imagine it this way. And I guess you can't do it no more because of cell phones. But Sean, you remember, well, maybe you don't remember because you're younger than this, but back in the day where they would show people like getting on the TV and putting a rag on the phone to try to hide who they were.
Yeah, to cover up their voice and stuff a little bit. Yeah.
That's not how anonymous sourcing works, but it would be great if it did, don't you think? Like, wouldn't that be kind of cool, right? But JJ Wright, man, he's always the guy that comes out here and has the excuse. And again, JJ is not the only former player who has such feelings about him. You go listen to the podcast by the former players and you'll see how many of them have these less than positive feelings about Doc Rivers, right? I just want to throw this out here because this is not the first time that this has happened, right? We are all allowed to have our opinions, right? We're all allowed to have our opinions. We are all entitled to our opinions, and we all have the right within a certain measure of respectful reason. We have a right and an ability to come out in front of the world and share our opinions as we wish to, okay? But I felt this way when JJ, whom I generally like, I felt this way when he got into the MVP waters last year with getting into the argument with Perk. And I kind of feel this way as it comes up in this situation that we have right now. I hope that JJ got somebody around him to assist him and tell him, be careful, because what these networks will do and what these aggregators and everybody else will do is allow JJ Redick to be the voice on television who happens to be white that go hard on these black dudes. Right? Because I don't think JJ really looks at it that way, to be honest. I don't know him very well, but I feel like I know him well enough to say that. I don't think he winds up looking at it that way. But there's a certain level of gravitas that we treat JJ with as he exists. Because the truth is, he is like the white dude from Duke, right? Like, he presents with that. In NBA coverage, it's going to largely be former players. There ain't been that many, like, famous white players, at least from the United States, honestly, in the last 20 years. He's about, because of his college run, he's about as famous as any of them are, right? And he speaks with a certain measure of authority, and he knows a lot. He's a real bright dude. And when he decides to come at something, he's coming straight at it. Like, I say this as the person that he done tried to come straight at before. He ain't mentioned no words. He's coming right at it. But what's going to wind up happening is, and I know this because it happens to me in slightly different fashions, but it goes in a very similar way, where they going to find out that you got something to say about insert person here on this podcast or whatever it is. And like, yeah, okay, we'll get JJ out here to come say it like this. And because he's the one that'll do it, he's going to get a lot of fans of a lot of things that he says that I know JJ well enough to know he don't want to be his fans. I saw that happen with that Jokic thing. I talked about that before, right? He became a hero to a lot of people that I know he ain't want to be in no room with. But whenever JJ's going to say something like this, like about Doc dodging the accountability, he's not the first person to say these things. He's not at all. He's not the first of Doc's former players to have not great things to say about him. Again, go listen to some of these podcasts. They've been saying this stuff about Doc. But JJ the one that land, because it means something different when JJ says it. And I just hope, be careful, man. Be careful. You will find these people will use your words however they so decide, and what you intend it's not always wind up being the result of what you say and the result of what you do. And what all of us wind up doing is trying to figure out the balance between how much we can care about that and how much we are just simply dedicated to saying what is our own truth or what is the truth in many cases. So like, I don't think JJ did nothing wrong here, but I did kind of, hit the internet and look at the ways that people responded and how excited they got about it. And I'm like, hey, it's not just because they enjoy drama. There's something particular about that dynamic of it that a lot of people like. And they like it coming from that guy who honestly isn't like those people who say they like it. PrizePicks is the most fun you can have by winning up to 25 times your money. And with the football season over, you can still win money with basketball and hockey. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You can pick combo projections across multiple sports from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. PrizePicks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.